long time. Grogan gets the nose long time. Grogan gets the nose ahead, but I think the pole man should be able to hang on as they go down there. Macaulay on the inside, Grogan on the outside, Newsom next up. Who's that weaving around? Costello just getting a bit of a tank slapper into the braking zone there and just unsettling the pack as they head down towards Ford Corner.
Yeah, good start there from Macaulay, so it's as they were pretty much. Dan Polly going down one spot from third, dropping back to fourth. He's just a red car you'll see on your left is shot now shortly as they make their way through turn 3. A little bit wide there for Macaulay, runs out over the curbs. That'll give Grogan a little bit of a thought as to maybe being able to pull onto the back of him, but Macaulay's still out front as they make their way through Mazda corner. Still 2x2 action further back the field as they all make their way through. We haven't lost anyone yet, so we're looking forward towards a good couple of maybe 15-minute race, so probably get in about 8 laps or so as they make their way through onto the international loop. Still it's Macaulay from Kevin Grogan, and next up is Sean Newsom.
Then it's Dan Polly, who's not dropping back just yet. Maybe that car's sorted, but Dan Polly very quick on the international loop. He won the Leinster Trophy, caught Ray Moore and passed him here a couple of years ago, and very, very quick in that same car, closing in on Newsom. So maybe the problems are finally sorted in Dan Polly's car, Barry.
Yeah, impressive run through the first part of 7-8 there. Carried a lot of speed and pulled in a car length, and you don't do that too easy. None of these guys at the front in any class are too far off, and it looks like Polly's having a look up the inside now. That's going to put him on the left. He's just out of shot, as we wait and see. That's
Moran down the inside
Moran.
of Newsom. He's following him through. Polly opened the door and everybody else has gone through. So Dan Polly on a charge. And this will be interesting if we've got Polly back on form, because back a couple of years ago he was one of the very, very few people, Barry, that were capable of taking a fight to Ray Moore. And I don't think he's lost any of that talent. So if he can get these car maladies away, he certainly should be very, very quick. There's Cross, the guy that has impressed us so much this year, probably the quickest of the newcomers, although Elliott right with him this time. The leaders go by. It's the champion Macaulay, it's Grogan right with him, Polly up to third, but coming behind him a danger man, Jimmy Furlong on the inside there in the metallic red, Shane Moran on the outside, then Newsom, then Colin Blackburn, another young star driver, clashes wheels with Newsom there on the way out of Ford Corner. I don't think Newsom spotted him. He was going across for the line, Barry, for Adelaide.
Yeah, great stuff, and Newsom has really lost out in that one as Moran looks to go around the outside. He thinks better of it and drops back in, and they're on. Here comes Newsom back. That's Newsom in the white car surrounded by red machines. So Newsom was second early on, and we see our third rather early on, and we seen him dropping back down. Polly made a move on him and he just lost all his momentum on the international part of the circuit and dropped right back. So he's a man that we know has more pace maybe, or maybe he's a problem. He does seem to be dropping off the back of Moran, who came by him when Polly did him, and now it's Colin Blackburn in the total machine having a look. Meanwhile up front it's still Macaulay and Grogan flashing through the screen. Then it's Dan Polly, then Jimmy Furlong, then it's Stephen Moran with the recovering Sean Newsom in the white machine. Blackburn there now. He's coming under big pressure, and that's a late lunge. I'm not sure who that's is.
Dave O'Brien. It's Dave O'Brien in the blue car, but he's fighting back at him there. Blackburn and O'Brien lucky to hang on to that one. Blackburn could have been a little bit more aggressive, I think, at 7B, but probably he's better off. They might have both parked in the gravel. This is a good battle up front. Macaulay with the head down. He's the champion, and he's got a beautiful balance in the car. It's really well set up by the Newsom. So you see that, Barry? He got it turned in a tad of opposite clock and got it right into the apex, and he really is on it. But right with him in the Avanti car is Kevin Grogan. Ivan Casey works really, really hard on his team and pushes very hard. He's also involved in the running of the class. He runs this Leastone for Grogan. They've had a few wins. They won their first A race at the end of last year, and they've repeated that already this year. But is he beginning to inch away, Macaulay?
Yeah, I think Macaulay, as you commented on it, Leo, and I noticed myself, beautiful balance through that long, acute left-hander that leads out towards Irish Ferry's corner, and that did seem to help. And here we go. That's Furlong being passed down the inside. Is that the... Well, no, in fact, it's Furlong having a look at Dan Polly in the Enya machine. Well, all these red cars get a little bit confusing, but it's Furlong that's made his way onto the back of Polly. So
actually drove by Polly on the main straight, and Polly outbraked him down into turn 1, stayed on the inside and just about took it back. But certainly Polly's engine woes are not finished yet, because he was a sitting duck on the main straight, Barry. As soon as they pulled fourth gear, Furlong flicked to the outside and had the nose well ahead when they were into the braking zone. It was a big lunge from Polly that held on to the place for him, and as you can see, they're beginning to pile up behind him now.
Yeah, it's definitely in a straight line. You see through that long left-hander there at Mazda corner, Polly pulls a car length. A little bit of a straight now before they get to Daly's Drift, and that car length is gone already. It's the next corner that's really going to hurt Polly, and a big defensive line in is not going to help, because he's going to be sacrificing a little bit of exit speed. But Moran is coming under big pressure then from that's Jimmy Furlong, so he's got to pass and defend at the same attack and defend at the same time. He goes to the left. Polly again has to have a lunge on the brakes. Can't do anything about it this time. Furlong goes ahead. Then it's Polly who covers to defend, and they're all contact there between Newsom and I think that was Justin Costello.
It was Blackburn who caught Newsom there in the back wheel, and they're both off. Two very quick young drivers. Blackburn's bent the front suspension and he's out. Newsom's kept going. So it's now Furlong, Polly and the local man Moran in that one. So Polly, just nothing he could do there really. If Jimmy Furlong had indicators, he could have put the indicator on and driven by him, I think, on the back straight there. So it's going to be very frustrating for Dan Polly. As you said, he's quick through the twiddly bits, but once they get into fourth gear, he looks like he's just getting swallowed up a little bit. Not much in it, but you don't need much when it's Formula V, when it's a class like this.
Yeah, very frustrating for the driver to be down on power on an engine, because there's literally nothing you can do. No matter how good you are, you can only press the throttle 100% like anyone else, and if it's not responding, there's not a lot you can do. So you'll see a driver like that trying to make it up in the corners, which is exactly what Polly is doing. He's late on the brakes and he managed to close back in onto the back of Furlong, but I can't see it last for long. He's coming under big pressure now from Moran, and next up behind Moran, the blue machine, I think is that Dave O'Brien, Leo?
Yeah, Dave O'Brien right in the middle of that one. I was just looking to see if I knew what the lap record was, but I don't have it in front of me, and I should have, because Adam McCauley's just banged in a lap way quicker than anyone else, but I think they've been quicker than that before. It's a 53.851 as opposed to everybody else in the 55s, and I know from time in the Formula Fords on Friday, Barry, that'd be a reasonably respectable time. You wouldn't be last on the grid in a Formula Ford race with a 153.
No, I'd have taken a 153 on Friday when I wheeled my Formula Ford out for its first couple of runs, so certainly nothing wrong with these little Beetle engine machines as they make their way down, and they're not only are they quick, they're providing some fantastic racing. O'Brien goes for the switchback, and good grip on the inside of that corner, Leo. There's a new tarmac there recently, I think, and it's given up a little bit of grip, so you have to go in a bit late, and it will reward you on the way out. And O'Brien comes from a decent bit back, makes a good move up the inside of Moran, and that's very clean and decisive overtaking manoeuvre from the blue machine of Dave O'Brien, and Moran really no answer to that, nothing he could do about that one.
So it's McCauley, Kevin Grogan, Furlong, Dan Polly and Stephen Moran at the moment. In fact, it's just swapped around, of course, because Dave O'Brien has got ahead of Moran. O'Brien on a bit of a charge, started well back in the blue car. It's almost a relief for a commentator to see a blue car. There's too many red cars out there, as Barry said. They're coming back towards the great old train. Nothing happening up the front except Adam McCauley extending that lead to almost 3 seconds now ahead of Kevin Grogan. So this is where the action is. Polly with a move from well back, but Dave O'Brien has a look down the outside. And does he get around the outside? Not quite. Dan Polly far too experienced to let that happen. But they pull fourth gear about here, and Dave O'Brien will just pull out surely and get alongside. That's exactly what he does. And Polly will be not very happy about this one, although didn't really get alongside on that occasion. Oh, that's Moran really needs to twist the old brake balance to the back just a couple of turns, Barry.
Yeah, that's a couple of times he's done that now. Dave O'Brien has gone around the outside, Leo, and another fantastic position gained from Dave O'Brien. That's two within the space of a lap that he's pulled off. Very impressive moves, and he's put away Dan Polly in that first red machine. It's Christy Moran now, who, like you said, Leo, is locking up the fronts, and the next time he's going to be asking an awful lot of the brakes is certainly into here, but when they get down to 7A and 7B, braking from in excess of 100 mile an hour, so going to be really punishing those front brake discs on his red machine there. That's him in the black helmet at the back of this group. Polly, it is just ahead of him that he has to is next on his list to try and make a move ahead, but Polly's certainly dropping back slowly. And look at Dave O'Brien already within half a lap of dispatching Polly. He's right on the back bumper. Here they come into the braking zone for 7A and 7B. He makes Furlong go to the inside. Dave O'Brien has a look. Can he do it all the way around the outside? Indeed he can. He gives him good racing room, gives Furlong. That's great racing from both guys, but very impressive stuff from from Dave O'Brien in the blue machine to pull off a manoeuvre like that and allow racing room for the guy on his inside. Great stuff, and if any young race drivers are watching this, that's exactly how you do it.
Yeah, really is good stuff. They're fighting very, very hard. And Polly just lacking that slight bit there, and we're not allowing him to get on terms with these guys, but when they slow each other up, he's right on them again, as indeed is Moran right behind him. So anyone having a go there, Polly thinking about it, but from way back. And as you said, Barry, if Polly has a go down the inside, he'd be even slower on the main straight because he'd be compromising his exit speed. 5 minutes 16 seconds still to go on this one. So
we wait now, and I'm interested to see what Dave O'Brien's lap was, although he did pass two cars on that one. a 55.2, which is a 55.9 rather, so he's only 7/10 slower than his fastest lap, so this will be interesting. Let's see what sort of lap time Dave O'Brien can put in. I have a feeling it's going to be his quickest lap of the race so far, though Jimmy Furlong might have something to say about that as he closes in and pulls a couple of car links through the first part of turn 3. O'Brien now might have a more, in fact he runs wide, they miss the apex, both of them, and run out over the exit curbs. I know there was some fluids down in that corner earlier, but should be dried up by now in the June sun here at Mondello Park. And still Paulie coming under attack from Christy Moran. The two red machines there making their way out onto the international part of the circuit. So Paulie's issue that he definitely had something wrong with the car earlier in the race. Doesn't seem to be raising his head just at the moment, but he is lacking a little bit of overall pace. O'Brien pulls a few car lengths. That's very important corner there. So next, this is coming into the big braking zone. We've seen plenty of overtaking moves down here. As I said, coming in from well over 100 mile an hour, braking at about 80 or 90 meters, getting it down, second gear, turning. You make these two corners almost one. And O'Brien has not done a great job. He's very slow out of there for some reason. So he's coming under attack now from Furlong, who's going to sit back in behind. But O'Brien lost a lot of pace there, Leo.
Really did, and these two cars both running for the same team. Newsom Racing and Newsom already also running Adam McCauley, who, by the way, is leading by 5.1 seconds now from Grogan, who's way out ahead of these guys. So Kevin Grogan and Adam McCauley having a leisurely race out front. They're well ahead and nobody bothering either of them. But this is where all the action is. Paulie thinking about having another go, but really doesn't want to be down that inside line. He wants the best run possible out of Dunlop Corner to see if he can stay with these guys. Grabbing fourth gear just there. And the two Newsom cars, very, very equal. O'Brien staying to the inside. Let's see the lap time. That time around a 55.2. That's his fastest lap from O'Brien.
I'm going to make go out on a limb here and say Dave O'Brien has a problem. I think through the right-handers he seems to be losing a lot of exit speed. These cars run a carburetor setup, so maybe there's just an issue with float levels or something. He's slow there, and that was a left-hander previous, but it's a flat left-hander after the first right-hander, so it's really just a continuation, the legacy of the first corner. Again out of the right-hander, Furlong taking the conventional line, and you just see him closing up slightly all the way up into Mazda corner. But where O'Brien is certainly quick is on the second to last corner. Irish Ferry's the fast left-hander, and that's just saving him a little bit from an attack into Dunlop, the conventional overtake manoeuvre. O'Brien keeps to the right. We just see him disappearing over the crest of the hill there into Daly's Drift, and they should appear, and as they do, it's Dave O'Brien in the blue machine from Furlong, and Furlong again closing in on him. So O'Brien's certainly down a little bit of straight line pace, has to defend. And it's very difficult defending there, and he runs a little bit wide, locks a brake, he runs a little bit wide, he's not going to be able to do anything. He goes side by side through the second part of 7A and 7B, and here comes Dan Paulie now. He's got to run on the two of them because there's caught squabbling. Will they go side by side around? O'Brien jukes it out around the outside. That'll give him the left for the next corner, and more importantly the left for the touch of wheels there. And really that's just a race, and I think maybe Furlong has got a little bit of damage. And the big winner there is Christy Moran, who's managed to get by both of them.
But he's in the pits. That's Stephen Moran. Moran, his son Barry, that's there.
Too many red cars, Leo, we said before.
That's what it is, too many red cars. We're getting really confused. That's Paulie it is who came up through them there and managed to get by them both. But I wonder, will Dave O'Brien just motor by him? That'll be interesting now. They both get a similar run. Paulie going to the inside, but he pulls out so early. It's got to be a big difference if he pulls out that early. They're fourth gear now, straight with it, just a drag race. Can Paulie hang on? Just about. He's definitely not as quick in a straight line. It's not that bad. Locks the front, but round the outside on the brakes. Good stuff from Dave O'Brien. Paulie fights back for turn 2. Surely Dave O'Brien should be able to sit that one out.
Yeah, maybe both of these cars have a slight engine issue, Leo, because we've both seen them being a little bit pedestrian compared to others around them. So this could be interesting. But if both of them are suffering with little engine maladies, then it could be a very interesting race between the two of them. But nonetheless, they're right up there at the sharp end. I think are they fighting it out for this is for the third place.
It is
position,
third place
so the
overall.
final step on the podium is for play here.
It's a good race. They both have enjoyed this one regardless of the result, but they'll be scrapping hard for that final podium place. we're looking out for our winner, and there's only 31 seconds on the clock. So Adam McCauley, I think, is probably on his final lap now. Another win, it looks like, for the reigning champion in the Newsom car. Here he comes, beautifully prepared car as ever. Adam McCauley arrived into Formula V a few years ago and immediately was quick in the wet. Always a sign of a talented driver. As soon as he went to Newsom's, they put a good setup on the car, and he showed how quick he was in dry conditions. He has become the dominant force in recent years in Formula V. Very affable chap, drives superbly, loves his motor racing, and nothing even Kevin Grogan could do about it today. And there he goes up over the curb for, I think, the last time. Yes, it is. The checkered flag is prepared below us. So fourth gear down to third in the Formula V, nice and late in the brakes, turns it in. He still did a quick lap last time around, didn't ease off, grabs fourth. He'll get away from the Newsoms on the pit wall. They're not on the pit wall, they're probably already in the bar. There's the checkered flag being waved. He takes another win. Grogan in second place, Barry, but we watched all the action, of course, for third place. Here it is.
It's still on, and here's Dave O'Brien covering from the red machine of Dan Polly. Dan Polly takes a wide swing out, but he's not enough. He hasn't been able to get the cut back, and it's Dave O'Brien now who takes that final. Great drive from O'Brien, moved his way right up. We have a look at our grid sheet, Leo. He started, Leo, would you believe he started 15th on the grid?
Yeah, he charged up early on, did a lot of that action early on when the grid was still bunched up. Great stuff by him, and good performance all the way down the grid by Formula V, of course.
Yeah, great stuff. But an emphatic win for poleman Adam McCauley ahead of Kevin Grogan, but McCauley really made that race his own. 53.7.